Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Saturday Morning Coffee with Back to Basics Dog Training. This week, if anybody saw the preview that I put out last Sunday, I think it was, and then shared it all over the place on Wednesday, um, its segue is Let's Not Give Up Hope. Today's special guest, Sue, is an owner of a dog or partner with a dog, Hope, who Hope was in the shelter for 3 years, and Susan gave Hope a chance. She didn't give up hope. And together we started going on a journey together to help Hope have the happy balance life that she deserved. So, with that being said, guys, if you're watching, hit me with the question, hit us with the questions. If you're watching, remember, put in your comments. Let me know where you're watching from. Who, give us a shout out. Make sure we welcome Sue properly. And without further ado, let me bring in Sue and we'll start our conversation. So, welcome, Sue. I don't know why I can't hear Sue, so I hope everybody else can. Talk again?
I don't think
There
I'm.
you are. There you are. You're breaking up a little bit, so we'll work through it. So, everybody, this is Sue. Sue, again, I started the thing saying that Hope was in the shelter for 3 years, I believe, from if I remember correctly.
Yes, so 3 years. I had chihuahuas for many years before Hope. I grew up with shepherds, though, so I wasn't unfamiliar with guard breeds. And after my last chihuahua passed away, Larry, my husband, and I decided we wanted to get another dog. So we went to the local shelter, and I said, I don't want a pit bull. Now, I didn't have preconceived notions like, the myths about, the dogs with their locking jaws and all that nonsense. I knew that wasn't true. I just didn't want them because they have very high energy, a lot of them. And my husband has MS and he's somewhat disabled. I didn't want a dog knocking him over or anything like that. So we went into the shelter and all they had were pit bulls. So they showed us from what, and these dogs are bouncing around their cages. And we come up to Hope's cage, and she was very calm and just looking at us with her sweet little eyes. And then I'm reading the sign, and the attendant is talking to me that she was in there for 3 years. And I involuntarily started crying. And I said, all right, we're going to take her and we're going to work with her. And I took her home. And the first day I knew I had more on my hands than I could handle. Not because she's a pit bull, but because she was a breed that I wasn't familiar with in terms of how to handle them. And I was living in a situation where I'm very anxious. So that was adding to her anxiety. So the first day I called the shelter and they sent a trainer over. She was wonderful with the trainer. It was part of the adoption process, but the trainer wasn't able to give me any strong enough indication about how I should handle Hope when she wasn't around. She gave me instructions on these little, the sit and, commands, but she didn't tell me how to handle my energy. So, okay. And then she was gone after that, so I couldn't use her. Then I tried two positive energy trainers, and I'll tell you what, I mean, to each his own with that sort of thing, but it didn't work. It didn't work at all. They showed me absolutely nothing, except for the one trainer did tell me that she felt that Hope's dog reactivity, and that was the big problem, um, was like fearful aggression, and that I'll never be able to break her of it, and that I should just avoid other dogs and walk in the other direction. That doesn't work. That's not real life. So my first big problem, which caused me to call back to basics and Leon, was, and I got him from a neighbor, was the dog was protecting me from my husband. So I was laying on the couch cuddling with her, or the bed, I think, and he came in for a kiss and she snapped at his face. I freaked. I freaked. I pulled her off the bed. I told her no, I wouldn't let her be near us. But then she did it again. And that's when I called back to basics because I was terrified that she would bite him. And he's very frail. Um, and so Leon at that point had me only working on that behavior. So she was not allowed on the bed or the sofas for 2 weeks. She had to be crated during certain times, and she wasn't allowed to come in between Larry and I. And so we at least got that situation safe. then we had to work on that. After that, the leash walking and the reactivity with dogs. And Leon came in, and he came in, and again, people get in your head sometimes about dogs and their experiences, and they're not certified. So he talked about a prong collar and an e-collar, and I said absolutely not, I'm afraid of those. But we did wind up using the prong. Unfortunately, at the time I was having knee surgery, so I wasn't able to keep it up with Hope, and honestly, I wasn't comfortable with it. Fast forward, we were doing okay. And then I had a really hyper reactive situation with a small, high energy dog. And Hope didn't go after the dog. She didn't bite. She's never bitten since I've had her. But she was doing her Tasmanian devil dance at the end of the leash. And I live in a senior community, and this woman was terrified, terrified, unreasonably, but still terrified. So, and then I called Leon, and he talked to me, and I'll let him speak to that. And he sent the e-collar. I said, I'm ready for it. And he told me what to do to start getting Hope ready for that when he came. And he came for a bit. And I think we did 2 sessions or
I think
three.
yeah, 2 or 3. I don't remember. It was a while
Yeah, I
ago.
think it was definitely 2, but it might have
Yeah.
been 3. And I have to tell you, Hope is just a different dog. We've bonded. The most important part of learning how to handle Hope, even with the e-collar, is that Leon taught me how to handle my energy and my anxieties because of my situation. I have a very full plate here, and sometimes I'm rushing around. How to calm myself down so that the dog wouldn't be excited walking out the door. So,
So,
um,
so let's give a little bit of backstory on this.
yeah.
I had actually met Hope when I was working with your neighbor.
Right.
Uh,
That's right. That's how I got your number.
right.
Oliver,
And
who's a 120-pound Newfoundland poodle mix.
right.
Hope's
Noofadoodle,
nemesis.
Noofadoodle.
Yeah.
And, their problem was they couldn't walk this 120-pound beast,
That's right.
who was just overexcited goofball.
She
And
is.
yeah, and
He
then
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
you came home. I remember actually seeing you driving down the block. Hope's making some.
That's right.
Hope wants to join us. Um,
Yes.
so and then you came to walk Hope, and while we were out there, and I saw
Yes.
Hope's reactivity. I mean, and I was like,
Yeah. It was
oh,
high, right?
yeah, it was
Like,
hot,
and within seconds.
right? And and again, it's not so much breed specific to me. It was I looked at this strong dog
Very strong. She's
who
65
can hurt right,
pounds.
who can hurt you
She's
indirectly.
talking, by the way.
Opie, you got to be
Say
quiet.
hi.
Adults are talking. Um, when I first met you, our main concern was her reaction towards Larry. That was
Right.
my
That
main
was my
focus.
biggest concern.
Right.
I have to be honest, in the beginning, I almost thought I was going to have to give her back because of that. But thank God for you, I didn't.
And again, it was just what I talk about constantly, week in, week out, when I talk about especially rescue dogs,
Yeah,
is Hope had no rules, no structure set up when she first came into your home,
that's
and she
right.
had free will to do whatever she wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And she took advantage of it. And it's natural that she bonded with you because you were the one working with her.
Right, right,
So I needed part of our first session, if I remember correctly, was I needed to empower you that you were in charge, not Hope.
right. Yeah,
And to stop feeling bad about Hope being in the shelter for 3 years, because
yeah,
as humans, that bothers us.
yeah,
Dog was in the shelter for 3 years. Oh my God, the poor baby.
yeah.
And you were feeling those emotions.
Absolutely.
So by not allowing Hope on the bed, not allowing her on the couch, and only having freedom in the house when it
Right.
was time to work for a short period, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
she learned the rules at that point.
She learned the
So
rules very quickly.
right,
And
Eh,
that was important to me
right,
because Larry, we're a
right,
family.
right.
Yeah.
And then I remember our next session was now. Keep in mind where Sue lives, guys, is a 55 or older community. I think it's 55 or
A
older.
gated community.
Gated
Most of the dogs are little small dogs that have very high energy.
right. And also, they have to be walked. They're
Yes.
not fenced in yards. It's not like you have the
Nope.
luxury of opening up your door and say, "Here, go
Nope.
out, go." You
Yeah.
have to walk
They
the
have to
dog.
be curbed and,
Right.
yeah.
And of course, my public service announcement, dog poops in public, they have to be cleaned up after.
We have stations for that.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So the next stage, I think it was 2 weeks after we started, was okay, we need to master the walk because we can't have
Right.
Hope dragging you. And at that point, I'm not sure if I knew you were having the knee surgery or not, but I think right.
So the first session that we had was just you and I. Um, and then I made you do one with my brother Ralph because he was going to be here during my surgery
Right.
and he would be the one walking her. And I think he did okay when he was with you, but he didn't retain it and was unable to use the collar during that time. I
Right.
mean, he walked her, but it was a
It
lot.
wasn't it wasn't a good walk.
Yeah, no, it
Um,
wasn't a good walk. And it wasn't always good walks with me until we started the e-collar. Like, even if there
right.
was not another dog around, she's just bullish, and she's pulling me here and pulling me there. And I was working out in the gym every day because this dog is strong. I didn't want her to pull my shoulders out. And I even did a couple of small experiments. I took her to a very safe place where there was a fence and no one was around, and I took her off leash so she could have a run. And then I walked with her at a heel, only with the collar. If she veered once, and she did, she came right back and she healed the whole entire time with that. Now, I wouldn't do that in an unsafe situation, but the
Right.
point of that is she gets it. She
Right.
gets it because I got it from you.
Right. So
It's just
let's
invaluable, the
right.
training.
Let's talk about the conditioning we did with Hope because it's real important. Like I said, guys, Hope was in the shelter for 3 years.
Yeah.
So for 3 years had absolutely no rules, no structure, no boundaries, no
No. As a
anything.
matter of fact, they used to put her in the yard with the other dogs, but they always muzzled her.
Right.
So she didn't even know how to behave around other dogs.
Right. Which explained a lot of her leash reactivity. I remember working with her and I saw how Hope was before I even worked with you. And your neighbor kept saying it's an aggressive dog. And I'm like, no, it's an
No.
overexcited dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't that I didn't see any aggression in her whatsoever.
Well,
When, yeah.
I'm sorry. To me, it felt like aggression, because the hackles go up.
Mhm.
But it's a funny thing that I noticed once I was able to be a little more in control with her body language. And that's why I say, like, a little fearful aggression is she'll get crazy when the other dog is crazy. The hackles are all up, but a lot of times the tail is between the leg, even though the hackles
Mhm.
are up. So I think it's like a little fearful aggression. Like, I'm
Yeah.
learning to read her language.
Right. And a lot of what I saw with her, because again, when I handled, she acts totally differently. We know this.
Absolutely. And she
Um,
did with the trainer from the shelter,
right.
but not the positive energy trainers.
Right. So one, not positive energy, positive reward.
Oh, positive reinforcement
Right.
or
Positive
reward,
reward. They give
something
treat.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you call them, it didn't work for Hope.
Right.
It was
So the journey that you know Sue, Hope, and I went on together, and we're still going. I mean, you're talking. This
absolutely.
is
She
three
teaches me every
years.
day.
Right. This is 3 years. I think we've been.
Well, I had the surgery in January of 2020.
Okay. So a little
So,
over 2 years
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Okay. Um, and it was a journey from the very first time I met her, which was before I actually worked with her,
right,
till today.
right.
We've done I think one Zoom type of training when we talked about the e-collar.
Yeah, that was
Because
when I first called you when that lady went, you know,
absolutely nuts.
terrified. And yeah, and I called you and I said, I'm ready to try the e-collar. I'm giving up all my preconceived notions. And you had moved to South Carolina, but you said you were coming back to Long Island and we made an appointment. You mailed me the collar. I put it on her so she could get used to it. And boy, she because she is such a smart dog. I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't have you in person. I have to say,
Right,
because it's not just about the collar.
it's
And
not.
the collar people, any of you who have fears about collars, It's just stimuli. We have to stop calling them shock collars and electric collars. We have to teach people they're just getting a little stimuli. It's unwanted stimuli. It snaps their brain in along with the martingale, which you should talk about, right? And the dog goes before she even gets to a 10. I just bring her right back in, and she's wonderful, and now I'm at the point where I don't always need it. She listens to the no, which you say nope, but it doesn't come out of my mouth naturally. So I say no and hey. Those are my two words
Hmm.
to get her
Okay.
attention.
So first of all, good morning, Joan. Joan asked us to explain what an e-collar is. Okay, so guys, when we talk about any of these tools, they're exactly that. They're tools to help us get to the end picture that we want.
That's right.
Um, an e-collar, now there are different ones, and I know, so you said it really well, but in reality is there are shock collars out there.
Right.
So
That's not
it's
what we're using. Come on.
right, it's buyer beware.
Yes.
If you're
The same
spending
thing with the prong collars,
right,
right?
yeah, if you're spending $49 at Amazon for a remote collar, it's most likely going to be a shock collar. The collars that I purchase and that I recommend to my customers retail for $200. There's a difference between the collars.
Yeah.
So the
Come on.
collars I use, and Sue says it right, they're stimulus collars. And what it
That's
does
right.
is if you ever had physical therapy or chiropractor, they put something on you called a TENS unit. And it's a stimulus, but we start off at a very low setting.
Mm-hmm.
Same way they do when I went to physical therapy. They didn't put this thing on 100 and say, okay, let me know when it becomes comfortable. you know, we started it at 1 and we hit the button, we go to 2 until I see that we get some sort of reaction.
So her
It-
in-house one was an 8,
right.
right?
Her
We figured that out.
8 out of 100
That's
folks.
right. And
And
that's
I
just for in the house.
right. And I'll tell you now, when I put that 8 on my hand, I don't feel it.
Right. But they get it. They
Right.
get
They
it.
get
She
it.
knows she's being called.
Right. And how Back to Basics does it is different than any other trainer that I know of out there. I'm not going to say they all do it wrong or whatever.
You've been a miracle to us. And I went through, like I said, I at least 3 or 4 trainers before I met you. That's a
So,
lot.
so what I do with the e-collar, and Sue knows this because I actually mailed her one. I said, "Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to mail it to you. All you're taking out is the collar. You're going to put it on Hope every day. Don't take the remote out of the box. Don't do anything. Don't turn the unit on. Don't do anything with it till I'm there. But you're
That's
going to
right.
put it on Hope every day for 2 weeks."
Mm-hmm.
Because we needed to desensitize her to that feeling of the two pokes on her neck. It's a new
That's
feeling
right.
to a dog. They don't understand it. And again, the disconnect I think between some trainers and myself is a lot of people, especially homeowners that don't have any clue, they put it on the dog and they start hitting buttons right away. And the dog's like, what the hell is this? So then they become
Exactly.
afraid of this collar. Oops, sorry. I didn't spill my coffee. Good. So if you can visualize it, and we're going to do a visualization here. Imagine those two prongs. Is that in
Mm-hmm.
camera? I can't tell. Yeah.
Yes,
Those
it is.
two prongs being on the dog's neck, and all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
it's this new thing. What the hell?
Yeah.
So they become afraid of this. They see this come out of the drawer or the charging station, and they run away from it. Well, I don't want my dog to ever be afraid of anything in the world.
No. No.
So why would I put something on them? So we desensitize them just to wearing it. New bling. It's
Mm-hmm.
like me putting my watch on every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when I got there, all I asked you to do, if I remember correctly, have the units charged before I get there.
Yep. And we did. Yep.
And I got there. One thing I noticed, if I remember correctly, it was too loose. The setting that you had on it, I had to tighten it up a little bit because it needed better contact. And
Mm-hmm.
then we literally started, guys. The collars that I go 0 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
I started at 1
That's right.
and waited for a reaction. Didn't get a reaction. We went to 2 until we found this working level of 8.
Yeah.
And the first thing we worked on was come,
Yeah.
right? We
Yep.
wanted
Just
her to understand
basic
basic obedience.
commands, basic ladylike behavior in the
Right.
house. Yeah.
Right. So the e-collar started bridging the gap
Hmm.
to our ultimate goal.
Hmm.
Um, e-collars are good tools, guys, if used
I
properly.
love it. It's been a game changer for us.
To me, what I describe an e-collar to more for Joan's explanation, it's a leash without a rope.
Yeah.
And you gave the great example. You went into the fenced-in area.
Yeah.
She can be the collars I use if no interference are
Hmm.
half a mile range.
Yeah.
So your
So,
dog could be 100
yeah,
yards ahead of you. Come, and
this
they
was
understand it.
where she was loose and I was trying it. It's a ball field
Hmm.
that's nearby my home, and I go there when no kids or no other dogs, because sometimes people are in there with dogs. And I used to let her off in the field off leash so she could run a little bit, but then I would always make sure she was on leash before we walked further in the park. And her recall when she's running without the e-collar in the park is mediocre at best. I really have to holler and like make my voice loud and snap my fingers to get her to come to me. But with the e-collar on, I think when we're in the park, it's like a 12. And
Right.
she's all the way down at the other end of the field. And I just give her one little stimuli and she comes right to my side.
And guys, when we say stimuli, Joan, I'll finish. I'll get to what you're saying. You need a miracle. The correction, the touch of the button is literally this quick. It's not
Yes.
holding it. It's hey, and it's no different than if I put pressure on the leash, and that's how I
Mm-hmm.
explained it. We work with leash pressure. Um, but the beauty is you've noticed you can get her to come back from 100 feet away now without using the
Yes.
collar.
Oh, even more.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So is the e-collar a lifelong thing for Hope? Maybe not.
I I think
It is
there'll
because
always be moments where I'll need to have it with me, but not always use it.
right. And that's what I want
Yeah.
to explain to people. No, it may not be a lifelong tool, but one, that e-collar being on gives Sue confidence. So
And
if
her.
Hope doesn't listen, right. If Hope doesn't
Yeah.
listen, I still have her. Um, so again, we talk, and we're going to talk a lot about energy because I know you and I focused a lot of our last
Oh,
two
yeah.
sessions
Yeah.
on your energy.
Yeah.
Joan says she needs for a 25-pound Frenchie. Joan, shoot afterwards. I'm going to put my contact information up here. My recommendation and would be definitely reach out to me, text me. We'll set up something. There are ways to stop. Leash reactivity is a very normal thing. I don't like the words that you to rescue as a breeder surrender, which tells me it's not a very good breeder. But um, dog reactivity is very common because if Sue and Hope would have continued on the journey that they were when I first saw them, not met them, saw them. The corrections I saw Sue trying to make with Hope, who was, I'm going to say, overexcited for the most part,
Oh, very overexcited. Yeah.
by the corrections with that tension and frustration, and oh my God,
Yeah,
this
because
is a 60-pound pit bull,
don't
would have
forget I
turned.
had the leash on a harness, which
Yeah,
wasn't
you had a
helping me.
harness. Yeah, I won't get into that.
Yeah.
But energy could have changed that excitement. Um, could have changed that excitement to aggression very quickly, and that's where
Oh,
most
definitely.
most
Definitely. I think
dogs,
she's capable of it. She just,
well, any
yeah.
dog is capable.
Yeah.
If we correct with tension and anger, we create tension and anger, and
Right.
that's why most dogs have leash reactivity is and it becomes aggression is because humans don't know how to control it in that no anger, no frustration, no nonsense approach that back to
Right.
basics uses.
Right.
So Joan, definitely reach out to me. I can give you some tips on that. If you haven't already, Joan, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I know Sue watched the videos. I have that How to
Oh,
Leash Train Your Dog video series, playlist, or whatever it's called.
yeah.
Um, from what I've been told by people like Sue and other people, I've never watched my videos, guys. Um, it was instrumental to helping the journey
The
because that's
very
what.
first one, what is it? It's Basics on Leash Training. Is that the
Well,
title?
it was called Mastering the Walk. But
Mastering the Walk.
right, but I
Yeah.
had to change that name of the playlist to "How to Leash Train Your Dog" because people
Oh,
don't type it
okay.
because the world of Google
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what people type. So it's How to Leash Train Your Dog. There's 5 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 1 is important, but episode 2 is the most important, which is the threshold management.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but what I really want to get into with Sue is, yeah, and please, people, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do, because
Do it,
you-
do it, do it.
you're going to start seeing some more and more videos coming out on things as
This
I'm
is a
trying
learning. I'll never stop learning. Yeah.
to.
You're a
Um,
great teacher.
Thank you. But a lot of what we talked about after, I think, when I came back up to New York and we did I think we ended up doing 3. I think we spaced it out every other day or something.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
Um, but the last 2, I remember we sat down and we did more talking than actual.
More talking about me and my anxiety and how to
Right,
get that in check.
right.
Yeah.
And, guys who follow me on here all the time know I talk about, if I can find it in my little pop up thing here, boom, boom. There we go. How energy is the most important form of communication. And
Yeah.
before we started today, about 10:45, Sue and I were talking to each other on here, and she said something that really touched me, because that's my goal, is to help people and help, of course, help their dogs. Um, she's learning from Hope,
Absolutely.
and she's learning how to communicate to Hope, not so much with the words like we try to do.
No, the words are less and less all the time.
Right. It's your energy that's communicating from you to Hope. And Hope, you're starting to learn Hope's language because you're reading her. You're seeing her,
Yeah.
communicating
Well,
with her.
because I'm not afraid of losing control anymore. So it's leaving me, not only did you give me tools to help me recognize and keep my own anxiety in check before exiting the door to go on a walk, and all of that you do, but you gave me the ability to control her, so I'm not afraid of losing that control. Now I can focus more on the energy. And she's a very smart dog. She got the whole concept of the stimuli right away. So now we're able to spend our time with her feeling my energy through the leash and how to hold it, which is I'll let you speak to that, you're the expert. But how to hold the leash, and her getting vibrations from that, but also eye contact. Now my dog did make eye contact with me from time to time because they taught her that at the shelter. But now when we walk, she makes constant contact with me. She'll make eye contact with me, I would probably say, like every few minutes on a 1 mile walk. She's just checking, making sure, is that okay, Ma? She just gives you that look.
Right.
It's very, and the bond, the language that we have, which is nonverbal, it's invaluable. It's just, I I love it. I'm learning every single day, and I am so eternally grateful to Back to Basics. I really am. It's invaluable what you've given us.
Right.
You've given us hope for our hope. Really,
Right.
you have. You
Um,
know.
and one of the things you and I were discussing, and I try never to bash other trainers.
No,
Um,
no. It's
and
just
that's
not for
reality is
everybody
what. Right.
sometimes.
But you said you had another trainer or other trainers there that did talk about energy,
Yeah, but so
but they
they
didn't
they
explain
spoke
it.
about energy, but they didn't teach me how to calm myself down and how to recognize when hope was picking up on my energies. And you gave me the tools to
Right.
keep myself calm so that I could take her out in a calm, relaxed state, which puts me ahead of the walk, so to speak, because I feel more in control. She feels better because, yes, she protects me, but I think she looks for me to protect her sometimes.
She
Now,
does.
if you remember, Leon, in one of the messages that I sent to you, she was very excited, and I used the stimuli, and she actually moved positions to the other side so that she put me between her and the other dog. And that's not something an aggressive, out of control dog does. So if you want to speak to
Right.
that.
Well, what I want to speak about is that I remember when I worked. I think it was when Ralph, I think is your brother, right?
Yes.
When I worked with you and Ralph on mastering the walk because of what was going on,
Hmm.
we ran into Oliver. Oliver,
I'm
is that
sorry.
Oliver, the neighbor's dog,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I took, and if anybody knows me, to me it's challenge accepted. I see this, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Um, and I think if I remember correctly, I told you guys to stay on the other side of the street at first,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I walked Hope to Oliver, right? Oliver,
Oliver. Yep.
yeah. Oliver was a very high energy, big 120
He
pound
is.
dog,
He's a big mush.
and I ended up being able to control Hope. And at this point, we weren't. I was only using the prong. I don't think I was using an e-collar. No, we weren't.
You,
This was
no,
in the
you were
primary.
using the prong
Right.
collar.
And I ended up being within about 2 feet of Oliver, having a conversation with Oliver's parents.
Yep.
Hope sitting calmly by my side.
Yes.
And I remember turning around and looking at your face, and you were like, how is this humanly possible? And
I
that's
couldn't even. I couldn't get half a block
right.
with Oliver, even a
Right.
full block.
Yeah. And that what I was trying to show is how energy and if when I
Yeah.
work with people, I tell don't look at the dog, look at me.
Yeah.
Look at my how my body language is, how I'm holding the leash. When I held the leash, there was no tension. I don't do that wrapping them around my hand a million times.
No, I don't do it anymore either.
I don't wrap it around. You see people wrap the
Yeah.
leash around their waist. No, you hold the leash, and like I say, the part closest to the collar,
Mm-hmm.
wherever hand I'm using closest to the collar, should be as relaxed as me holding my wife's hand when I'm walking down the street with her.
That's right.
If I'm white knuckling it, because I think I have to physically control this dog, I'm sending a signal to this dog every single time that
Yeah.
I'm tense and I don't trust you.
That's right.
And
That's
what
right.
that, be it a human dog relationship or a human human relationship, if you don't have trust, what type of relationship is it?
You see, and that's you, this comes very naturally to you, but to me, when you say that, you're giving me tools. You're not just telling me about getting my energy under control. You're telling me how to in every way, from holding the leash to energy relaxation breathing and everything else. I just, it's
Breathe in the
important.
roses. You breathe in the roses, blow out the candles.
Yep, and putting my hand on her,
Right.
breathing with her.
Oh yeah, that was well. That wasn't for the walk so much. That was for you.
Well, but
Right.
that helps me be in the state that I
Right.
need to be in to do the
Right.
walk.
So I want to clarify what that means
Okay.
is, and if it's okay. So you talked about your own anxiety. So I'm going to kind of
Yeah.
touch on it a
Yeah,
little bit.
no, I'm good.
Um,
You can tell
so
him I was through the roof.
yeah, she was her anxiety level was somewhere up here,
Yeah.
especially after when we started having those sessions after this lady reacted like a lunatic.
Yeah, I
You,
didn't,
you were
you
off the
know.
chart. You were off the chart, and I needed to regroup you more than I needed to regroup Hope.
Yeah.
Um, and what I told her to do, and I read about it, and I actually talked to people about it who have children with autism, is when we're going through these anxiety attacks, whatever it's going through our heads, is you put your hand on your dog's chest or stomach and follow their breathing. So if the
Hmm.
dog breathes in, you breathe in. If the dog breathes out, you breathe out. And you become one with the dog. And this sounds so spiritual, so, but it
It's
really
relaxing.
helps center you.
Yeah.
And the quicker you can center yourself, you'll see your dogs change. Joan, you say I'm guilty of all of this. And it's not that you're
It's
guilty.
okay. No.
It's why I say none of Hope's behaviors when I first met Hope were bad behaviors. They were
No.
unwanted behaviors, and there was a
Yes.
huge difference because Hope didn't know any better.
That's right.
They're not bad. We just got
No,
to teach
she's
her a
not
different way.
bad.
So, Joan, you're guilty of all this. It's not that you're guilty of it. You weren't aware of what we're talking about until today. And hopefully now you can take some of what we're talking about, reach out to me, either email me or text me are always the best
Yeah.
things. And we can start this journey together. We were talking earlier before we went live, and I had this epiphany one middle of the night of how to explain this journey I talk about with us and our dogs. And
Yeah.
I kind of like it is, yeah, dogs are always great. I don't, do you see the comments when people
No,
comment?
I don't,
Oh,
but
okay.
that's fine.
Um, So the journey that I woke up one night to try to describe this journey is a Ming vase. We all know they're beautiful, they're worth $1 million or whatever. But what people don't realize about this beautiful work of art we see in a museum is it started off as a lump of freaking clay.
Right.
And that's what everything starts off as. Our relationships with our dog, it's a lump of
Yeah.
clay. We have to
Yeah.
form it, we have to mold it, we have to do this, we have to paint it to get to that beautiful creation
Yeah.
that Hope has become.
Yes.
But it's
Yes.
when I first met them, Hope was a lump of clay, and no offense, Sue was a lump of clay.
I was, because I never had this particular breed of guard, and I didn't know how to handle her.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and and I love the fact that you still took the breed, even though you didn't know, because I don't look at breed. And I
She's
think I told
beautiful.
right. Oh, she's a beautiful dog. I look at
I just
yeah,
love her.
right, but what people need to start learning, and this goes for a teacup Yorkie to a 200-pound dog, is don't look at the breed of the dog so much,
No.
folks. Look at
No.
what they are. They're animal, dog.
Yeah.
The breed is the third thing in their genetic structure,
Yeah.
DNA string, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
You know, but look at every human. We're animal human. Anything else
Right.
underneath that is not that important. So
Right.
yes, breed is important, but it's not shouldn't be considered a
It's
top priority.
what you teach is universal to any breed,
Right. So
you know.
it could be that Chihuahua. It
That's
could be
right.
that 200
Oh,
pound
my
mastiff.
chihuahuas, I wish I had you around when I had my chihuahuas. They were very territorial. They were
Right.
a pack. I had 3 of them,
Yeah.
and they were nasty. But
Well,
they're chihuahuas.
but and that's the problem because people say, but they're Chihuahuas. They're
I know, I let them
if
get away with it.
a Chihuahua bites you, okay, it hurts, it's uncomfortable. But
Yeah,
I worked with a Doberman yesterday. So if a
yeah.
Doberman bites you,
You know
uh-oh.
you did
But
it.
for people that are watching that are interested in getting trainers, the one thing you want to question the trainer on, how do you control the dog? Do you control it with this or do you control it with this? And I think Sue and I figured, definitely come to the conclusion this is a better way to control it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I never physically controlled, even when she did react on leash. I physically restrained her, but I didn't
Right.
physically control her, and there was a huge difference.
Yes, there is.
And one, because could I physically control Hope? Yeah, I can. Sue,
Yeah.
can you? Can you physically control her?
Not really.
Not
I
as well.
can, but I can't. So, in order, like when I first got her and she had that high reactivity that you mentioned, like when you saw her with Oliver, um, I had to actually sometimes sit on the ground to level the center of gravity because
Right,
she's low and she's 65 pounds of muscle. I'm pretty strong, but when she's determined, I have to get down on that level or I can't hold her.
right. And from a
Yeah.
training point of view, or from behavior's point of view, when you come down, you're at their level where I need people to use more body language and energy
Right.
instead of this.
Right.
This and
No.
that's my problem with guys, and I've said this before. When men work with dogs, most men, not me, um, it's all about testosterone.
Using their
Brr,
prowess. Yeah.
brr. Women,
Yeah.
on the other hand, use the estrogen, which is but why are you doing this? Mommy loves you, and that doesn't help either, guys. And
Um,
that
I just a quick aside on that. I talk to Hope all the time, but not when we're training or when I need her to be
Mhm.
paying attention. It's mostly nonverbal language
Right,
that you taught me. And
right.
she teaches me.
Good morning, Michelle and Athena and
Good
Rob.
morning, everyone.
Um, so hopefully Athena's doing really well. Athena's a mastiff that some of the same issues as Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Reactivity towards other dogs,
Mm-hmm.
um, bullied the hell out of Michelle when Athena realized I could get away with it. We had Rob try to
Oh,
control them, and
yeah.
we've taken away that power. Um, Hopefully, things are going better with the leash reactivity. They need to, but that's going to come from their confidence. You had
Yeah.
the one thing I will say. So when I first met you, you were determined to fix this, to have
Yeah.
this
She's a gift. And
right.
I was very determined.
And that's why I always say you don't always get the dog you want, you get the dog you need.
Yeah.
Hope has definitely helped you with your anxiety
She,
because you realized your anxiety affected her.
mm-hmm.
Um, from what you tell me, she's doing really well with Larry.
She's doing amazingly with Larry. So, for anyone that wasn't here in the beginning, I made a quick explanation about when I first met Leon was because she had snapped at Larry at his face when I was laying with her. Larry is my husband. He's disabled from primary progressive MS. He can walk, but he's frail. And she did it twice. And the second time really scared me because she got a little closer. And that's when I called Leon, and, he helped me get that behavior under control. But now that we've gotten that under control and I have more control and calmness when I'm walking her because of all the e-collar training, she's actually gotten very close to Larry, and I put him in the tub recently. And with MS, heat can make you like lose all your muscle control. And he was actually starting to pass out in the tub, and the dog was in the bathroom kind of whining and sitting by the tub until I got in there and got him out. And then she was fine. And she lays by his feet, she watches, she's very gentle with him. She plays with him every once in a while when he comes out of his man cave. She'll take her bully stick and hide it, and then she'll talk to him, and she wants her to follow him and pull the stick out of her mouth. She has zero food aggression. She never did. I could stick my hand right in her mouth. But if she did have food aggression, I'm quite sure you could have taught me how to get that under control.
Yeah, and again, because that's just what they think they need to do. We just got to change the story for them.
Yeah.
So again, the reason I wanted to do this interview, just for anybody who's joined, is because, like we said, Hope was in the shelter for 3 years. A lot of
Mhm.
those dogs will get overlooked because, let's face it, 3 years in the shelter, it requires work.
Yes. A
Hope
lot of work.
didn't.
She had
Right,
no rules, no boundaries. She didn't know how to act.
right. And uh, at the end of May, for anybody who's watching, who's involved with rescues, I'll be doing a seminar down here for rescues, for their fosters, for the volunteers, because the fosters need to take a step, and it can help people like Sue, who now adopt the dog. Even though the dog's in the shelter, if the shelter knows how to tell that, the people at the shelter knows how to tell you, hey, this is what you need to do. So I'm going
Right.
to be doing a seminar. I haven't come up with a date yet. That's going to be for the rescue groups predominantly, but anybody can join it via Facebook Live. It's going to be a live seminar where I'm going to talk to my way of how the fosters and the volunteers can help these dogs for the next part of their journey,
Yeah.
to make it so they're not being returned to shelter so much. So they're getting rules in the shelter or in the foster home. We're going to take questions live from the studio audience, and I'm going to be posting it out on Facebook Live. So anybody who's watching that night can ask questions on Facebook Live too. So we're not going to forget about the world outside of, Fort Mill, South Carolina. It's not, this, we need to help one dog or one family at a time, but that doesn't mean just in South Carolina. That means
No. Yeah.
around the country and around the world. And
Yeah.
that's why I ask all my viewers to please share my lives out with your friends and relatives around the
Right.
country, around the world. There are a few people, I don't know if they're watching today, that have told me just via my lives that I do every Saturday morning, I have helped train their dogs.
Absolutely.
And, and
Absolutely.
guys,
Watching the
that's
videos,
right.
doing the
And
lives.
that's
Yeah.
free. It's
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Um, and the only thing I ask for in payment is please share this information. Let's get the word out,
Absolutely.
because the more people like Sue and Hope that we can help,
Yeah.
maybe our shelters won't be so full.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's the goal of my life, is we don't want these shelters being full. We
Yeah.
need these dogs to get out. And once they're out, stay out.
Well,
We
that's
don't want them to be for
huge,
a trip to
right?
jail.
That's
Right.
really huge. So many people will pick a dog and they find out that they can't handle the dog and they give them back. And
Right.
that's sad for
It's
the
sad.
dog and
It's
for the family. And, it,
I've
you
worked
do
with
need
dogs that
to
been,
commit.
yeah, you need to commit, and it's a cost factor to hire trainers, and I understand that. But anything in life is worth
Can I just say,
molding that
people,
multiply.
it is a cost factor, but listen to me. It's invaluable. The way that Back to Basics and Leon brought us to an understanding of how to keep ourselves calm and how to interact with the dog and each other. And, he, one of the things he taught me was the only behavior that needs to be corrected is the behavior that you don't want. Some people don't want the dog on their bed or the couch. We don't care. So we don't correct that behavior. But, when it comes to being in the tiny little kitchen and I'm cooking, nope, you're not allowed in. Out you go. So whatever behavior you want to correct, that's what you correct. You live with the dog the way you want to live with the dog. And that's invaluable to me because we all have so much love and peace in the house now, and we're not afraid, and it's really great.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Who am I to tell you that Hope can't be on the bed or on the couch? It's not my decision to make.
No,
If you don't like the behavior, you need to correct the behavior.
exactly.
You have to also teach them what you expect from them.
That's right.
It's not it's not good enough in my world for you to say no, you can't do this.
Right.
You better teach them what you expect in that case. And that's what we did with Hope on the walk with her interaction with Larry. The privilege of being on the couch or on the bed.
That's right.
Those were privileges she had to earn.
Yes, she
You
did
know,
have to earn that.
right. And everything, but even the walking with the reactivity. Yeah, we said no when she reacted, but when she didn't, we praised till we turned the no's into yeses, which is something I constantly
Yeah,
tell people. We got to remember to do that.
I'm always
It's great.
praising her.
Right.
Yeah.
We stop the unwanted behavior, but it's
Yeah.
our job to teach the behavior we want. And if you think about
Yes.
raising children, that's what we do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are going to screw up.
Yeah.
Our job is to teach them a better way to do it.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm at the magic 47 minutes. We weren't good today. So please remember the motto: no anger, no frustration, no nonsense. It's so important. I think Sue can attest to that.
Absolutely.
The no nonsense is no means no, but let's teach you how to
Mm-hmm.
turn the no into a yes.
Yeah.
Um, Sue, any closing thoughts you want to say before
Um,
we wrap this up?
I can only repeat that, since we got training from you and, for her and for me, and, you gave us the tools and you to how to understand energy and communicate with the dog, and it really is invaluable. It enriched our lives so much. I have it a little tough here with the situation of my husband being sick, and Hope is just, now that she understands us and trusts us, and we trust her, it's nothing but joy that she gives us. So thank you.
My pleasure. So, Joan, I'm going to put it up here just because you say you keep losing me for some reason. If I can find it, I gotta clean up some of my pre-programmed messages here. Um, this is my contact information for anybody out there who wants it. That's my cell number. Texting is always the best choice. Email me at what the hell did I hit on my phone? Email me at info at back to basics dog training. We can always reach out. Believe it or not, guys, because we talk about more of the dog psychology of this, and it's not necessary for me to be in the house sometimes. We can accomplish a lot on Zoom so you
Sure.
understand what your dog is saying. Zoom is definitely a more economical way for me to do some training for folks. So that's why we want to get this out to around the country and around the world, because we can do this via Zoom, and together we can help one dog and one family at a time that way. But um, we got people joining in, of course. Greetings all from Kathy. Hello, Kathy. My wife says
Hi.
my wife says this is amazing. So,
Oh, cool. Hi.
um, and we're gonna wrap it up because I don't want to tie up your whole Saturday. I don't know what the weather is like on Long Island, but hopefully
It's
weather.
fine. We're gonna go out afterwards. She hasn't been out yet, but I have a place out back for her, but we got to go for a nice walk.
Oh, wrong blurb. That's one animal. We can help one animal at a time too. But so, with that being said, Sue, thank you for your time this weekend.
Thank you. It
Thank
was
you
an
for always
honor.
right. Thank you for always putting the props out there for me. I appreciate it. Um,
Absolutely.
And if anybody does have questions on the tools we spoke about today, the e-call, the prong call, please feel free to reach out to me. Uh,
Hmm.
and if you don't want to hear from the trainer, I'm sure with Sue's
They can
permission,
message me,
I can give you
on
Sue's information.
Facebook. I'd be
Uh,
happy to answer any questions about
right.
how it just, speak to how it changed our lives and made us a more strongly bonded family.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
we'd be happy to get that information out to people. But with that being said, Sue, again, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking the
Thank
time
you.
to talk to me today.
It's been a
Guys,
pleasure.
as all, oops, I got another chat. As I That was Joan. Thank you, Joan. You're quite welcome. Thank you for Hope. Beautiful
Thank you, thank
lady.
you, thank you.
Thank you for sharing Hope's story with us.
Absolutely,
Um,
my pleasure.
and with that being said, guys, as always, stay healthy, stay safe, God bless. And remember, together we can help one dog and one family at a time. Enjoy
Great.
the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Sue,
Take
stay on
care.
with Sue, stay on for a little bit, but I'm going to end the stream,
Okay.
okay? Have a good
All right.
weekend, all.